Welcome back to the Xsplit Duels, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Here we are on BaseTradeTV with game number 2 in this best of 7. I'm Rifkin, joined today by my Grandmaster friend from Carnegie Sports, Namshur, casting on the other end of this. And
yeah, hello.
Before the intros, I got some cool news, man. We just both got a donation split 50-50, they say. Ikaij donated $10 as a tip to the casters. Thank you very much for that, man. Give half this to Namshur. I will absolutely do that. It's very generous of you. But here we go. Game number 2, spawning here in the top left corner of Ultrazeem Stronghold, the wubbiest of wub maps. It is the blue Terran player, Azer's MMA.
And in the bottom left of Ultrazeem Stronghold, we've got our red Zerg player. Let's see if he can bring a game back. Playing for Team Liquid, it is Snute.
That was a pretty crazy game. And if we gotta be honest, if that had not been a situation where Snute had no gas, where he had not been able to make banelings, I don't think he would have been in the same trouble that he was. He was playing so effectively, taking the best trades on and off of creep. But of course, MMA was able to just capitalize through those really cool drops, like the Thors on the cliff. Can we just... Was it the Cliffs of Dover or the Cliffs of Thover now, we can call them?
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, no, really, really good stuff so far, and I'm looking forward to see how the rest of these games play out. Now, MMA and Snute are both probably the least cheesy players I know. I've seen MMA lift a gold, I've seen him do 2 Raxes before, but it's not usually his go-to. And I, to date, can't think of a time I've ever seen Snute go for something stupid like a 6-bull versus Terran. So, on Ultrazeem, a map that already encourages late game play just through the sheer layout, I think we're going to get a pretty good match lined up for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Frost was a good game. This should be, Frost was a wonderful game, and I, can't imagine that this game is going to be any worse. Both players, of course, going to be focusing on the macro game, most likely, and Snute's, he's just going to be going into that long game, because I saw him play on Ultrazeem, and he played, really good, and he just, uses the map really well, because, when it goes to that mid game, if you can keep the Terran from, getting a 5th, etc., with that high meter count, there's so many bases for the Zerg. If you can just keep airtight with your drop defense, I feel like this map is definitely better than Frost for Zerg, because the fourth and 5th isn't as hard to defend as it is on Frost. Yeah. So, well, Frost is going to be feeling comfortable on this map, and he did pick it, so.
Well, it's funny, too, because to go for a 5th base on Frost in comparison, you have to actually go across the map. Ultrazeem Stronghold has 5 bases in each corner of the map. You could get that 5th within your own corner of the map. This map has 20 freaking bases on it, guys. Just think about that for a moment. For players who can expand, who can defend, who can trade, I mean, this is a map that I have yet to date to see it fully, split map, mined out. It's so insane to consider that happening, because the endurance that it would take for players to get to that situation, shy of, maybe Swarmhost or something, is just almost impossible to fathom.
Indeed.
Can you actually, for a moment, can you consider making enough banelings and zerglings to the point where you've traded out evenly, and you've mined out half of a map on Ultrazeem? That's no. 300 pluses of banelings, at bare minimum, It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna, or I hope actually we're not gonna see that game go that long in this game, because that would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, there's WCS later today, of course. With that. But no, however this goes, I think we're gonna enjoy it. The thing that's so nice about these guys too, they've got great personalities. Outside of this, it's hard not to be a fan of either, if not both of these players, and they're both at Takes Outs. Again, I want to give a big shout to Take, man, Homestory Cup starting tomorrow. I'm sure you guys are going to be watching that. You don't need me to advertise it, but big shouts to him for letting them play, or otherwise the show match wouldn't have been able to happen. Of course, for those who don't know, they're both at Take's house right now, just playing on the PCs over there, so that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. But, okay, so just to talk about the openers over here, we saw Snute go for the, 50 notch into gas for the speed, and I think he's been mining 3 workers on the gas the whole game, which is kind of interesting. So he has been going for that Overlord speed, which I really like, because it's hard to get scouting information on a map as big as Ultrazeem. So he's going to be able to use this quick Overlord now to see what's up. But also from MMA's perspective, we did see him, so we're going to see him go for Banshee. But so...
Oh,
easy.
Is that my end or your end? Am I lagging out there?
No.
Okay, it just sounds like Zoom's starting to cut out. Do me a favor, rejoin the call maybe, we'll see if that fixes it.
Okay, alright.
Sorry, we're having some, we get through the first best of 7, no audio problems, right? Get to the second one, that's with a couple of clips coming in there. You guys will hear the bing bong again in a second when he joins, so don't get freaked out by the weird noise. Sorry about this, guys. Want to make sure, of course, everything sounds good, everything looks good. So sometimes a little bit of awkward rejoins and whatnot, but MMA can't get up this ramp. There's 3 queens blocking us out. As fat as they may be, there's just no way to get past them. Welcome back, Nampshire. Hopefully that fixed things. Yeah, so like we said, guys, the idea is like we want this to sound as good as for you as possible. So we may have some awkward disconnects and rejoins, but yeah, we got through the first series, no problem. Go figure, it's the second series of the day we start getting issues. Either way, MMA's not going to get a lot done with these Hellions. The Queen's, of course, a little away from the ramp at the moment, but of course going to guard that mineral line a little bit better.
Yep, and I mean, how many links? Snute did not make a lot of links. Like, he's been powering up hard. Like, MMA had a really greedy opener with no Marines before the 3rd CC, so he's been powering up hard here with a really quick third. But Snute as well, cutting some corners here. Only 6 links out, but a lot of queens to compensate.
That's kind of Snoot's MO, though. I mean, he goes for a lot of queens, regardless of who he's coming up against, and they will pay out pretty nicely. Now, he does have lair guys. I don't actually think he's got any detection right now, though, so this Banshee without Cloak would have otherwise been a lot scarier had he had Cloak.
Yeah, indeed. Snute did scout the Banshee, and it still didn't make any spores. So I guess he figured that MMA would not get Cloak after he got scouted, so
did he
kind of nice read by Snute there, because he's cutting corners here, not making any spores at all, even though he scouted it.
Okay, so when Snute scouted it, he didn't see the reactor or the tech lab spinning, so that's why he knew that wasn't going to be Cloak. I was trying to figure out what the decision-making process here was, but picks off one of the Hellions. Not too bad. Banshee with the army still adds a lot of DPS, even if it isn't cloaked. It doesn't have the sneaky tactics. Still has a lot of damage just built in innately. And I mean, 73 drones, 3 bases. Snute is so comfortable with where he is. Like, this is his comfort zone. If you let Snute to get to this point, you're going to see a very difficult to break Zerg player.
Yeah, MMA did land this turret at like a nice time, but yeah, at the same time, Snute, you know, he's feeling really comfortable. Didn't really take damage to a Banshee, which is always nice. So his upgrades, I was gonna say they should be earlier, but he did invest in like Overlord speed and stuff, so I guess they're still not before MMA, so maybe MMA just, you know, open a bit more greedy.
Oh, it gets the Banshee. I'm not sure if that was greed. I'm not sure what he was trying to do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 3 queens like, I don't want to live anymore. But a 4th base on the way for Snute. His creep spread is getting there now. This was something that, of course, was a little bit deterred because he wasn't sure about the Hellions and the Banshees, so he didn't want to go spreading queens too thin. But this is the push coming up behind this. This is going to sting a little bit. There's a lot of Marines in this, but there's Banelings on the way. Centrifugal hooks may time out with this as well, depending on how soon MMA hits. In fact, they should time out pretty nicely. And we'll see if this is enough to break it. Why did he transform and untransform? What was that about?
Yeah, I guess he wants... Wait, he's sending them back home?
Suppressed worried about a counterattack. Well, whatever the case may be, Marines can do what they can. Lifts up. There's a Widowmine here to go off on the Lings. Misses the Baneling, sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately there. No worries here with the army. Okay, there's never.
Wow, what?
So 10 meters on the way.
Why did... Just like executed one of the Banelings with his queens. I don't know what that was about. I mean, you could misclick, obviously, but the Marines pushing right now, guys. It's worth noting. Combat Shield's still not done yet, so it's very dangerous for MMA to engage on the Banelings. That 10 extra HP is the world of difference when you stim.
Yeah.
But picks up.
Pick up.
Nice.
And what I like is that there was a Viking on the north side. Yeah, he's killing Overlord still now, that Viking is. So he's gonna be able to drop into the main whilst putting pressure on the 4th. So I like that move there.
Yeah, this is kind of what we saw at MMA last game too. Just start going crazy early on, like 2-prong drops. We got the Vikings chasing units off over there. I can't believe these drops got out alive. By the way, the Mutants, of course, had to disengage from the Stim Marines, but 4th base goes up. No real drone kills taken behind this. MMA gearing up to do a really big attack, and Snute, if he can get good Baneling connects, can certainly hold this, especially on creep. But this army supply from MMA is way out of hand.
Yeah, Snute at the same time, you know, his creep is looking really good. So even though MMA has that army supply, you know, lead, you know, engaging on creep versus speed Banelings, you know, that's impossible. So Snute is looking pretty good still. MMA has to do, you know, some damage now, or at least trade well. Let's see if the battle takes place now.
I really like that small contingency of banelings first to make sure he didn't waste them all on a couple baneling or Widowmine hits, but I think he's done enough here to slow this. He needs more banelings, he needs more zerglings though. The Mutalisk alone can't stop this, but he is taking out a sizable portion of MMA's army. And the thing about Terran armies is they snowball pretty hard. The second you start picking off a lot of the Marines, it loses a lot of the pushing power.
Yeah, this is looking. I mean, that's a lot of Marines, and there's no banelings, no zerglings. The zerglings are popping now, but they still have to morph into banelings to hold this off.
Oh, this poor base. The Queen's
kind of grim.
Well, they'll try and get in here a little bit too early with the Mutalisks. We'll see if he loses too many of them for it. Zergling's coming from the back end. This is all to buy banelings a little bit more time to complete, but he's losing so many Mutalisks for this.
Yeah.
Granted, it's mostly Marauders left now, though. There's nothing to finish off the rest of them. So while Snute bled out a little bit there, it was better than losing the base.
Yeah, exactly. I think he just wanted to trade Mutas instead of, losing the base or drones as well there. So, I mean, that didn't go the way Snute wanted it to go. I mean, MMA's even got 3-3 on the way so quickly, and the 4th's going to be trying to land now, but the Overlord's going to stop it. But yeah, lost a lot of Mutas there. That was really nice for MMA, but Snute holds on, and his 4th base is mining. I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a 5th soon enough.
So, you know how sometimes...
He barely held, but he did, nonetheless.
You know how sometimes there's like that odd Widowmine that doesn't get cleaned up and it just kind of goes off and sort of startles you for a moment?
Yeah.
I kind of feel that's like, you know when you like rub your feet on the rug, you get like that static charge and touch somebody? It's just kind of like, oh, it's like that little shock, like, oh crap, there's a Widowmine there. This is something I bring up not because it's just a silly joke, but it was a bit of a problem last time for Snute. He was kind of, I don't want to say lazy about cleaning up the Widowmines, but MMA was really good about sneaking a couple around, so it was picking off the odd baneling here or there where otherwise it shouldn't have. So we'll see if that remains to be a problem here in this game. As he pushes forward once again, he's got the Widowmines nicely spread out. He's got the Marines ready to dance, but on creep is always so dangerous to engage, guys. The speed bonus is huge.
Look at these Mutas actually going to harass now. There's actually like 5 turrets in the natural, but there's no turrets at the 3rd, so...
He's gonna have to bring...
when it going there.
Yeah, he's gonna have to retreat those SCVs. MMA, of course, too far gone in Ultra Zeem. You don't go back home to defend an Ultra Zeem stronghold. Even in boosted Medivacs, it's way too far. So he's just gonna have to trade a base for a base at most for the time being. But nope, Snute gonna disengage, rush back home. That's a hell of a lot of banelings, but the low ground is gonna provide so much cover for MMA.
I mean, Snute's supply is looking good though. I kind of feel like on creep, Snute should be able to deal with this. I like the MMA's back of creep.
Yeah, so here's the key difference for the average StarCraft fan out there. Banelings with speed on creep move faster than Stim Marines, but off of creep it's a completely different scenario. This is why you never want to engage that, because you can't run, you literally can't run for your life. Oh, but he picks up here. I like that
MMA's getting out of here.
Yeah, the Mules will pursue, but on the left side of the map we got another push coming down. If the army's too far out of position, then we may find a spot to wiggle in, but too far to the Mutalisks, I think.
Is Snute really gonna like pursue his army?
I was gonna say, like, it makes no sense to go this far out of the way to chase down a couple of medevac drops. I mean, it exposes you way too much.
Yeah, it's very risky to have your army that far out of position, and he does pull back. So both players, playing solid right now. Like MMA identifying, like not overstaying his welcome there at the 4th base. Like he gets out of there, saves his army. Really nice decision. Snute not being too overeager to catch the army. Lets it get away. It's fine. Whatever. He's got that 4th up. His Muta count's higher, and he's getting that hive that every player wants versus Terran.
And this is, I wouldn't say it's really hard to gauge what's considered an early hive, because the only time you really get to go for hive tech is when you've got breathing room, so to speak. So MMA not applying too much pressure is actually allowing Snute to get this at the 18-minute mark instead of, say, like 24. This means sooner plus 3 upgrades, sooner Ultralisk potential, but for now, the core strength is going to lie in these banelings. 51 available at the moment, 20 more on the way! Oh my god,
man.
We thought last game had a lot of banelings. Sorry, I was mistaken, guys, but these Widowmine hits! Oh, those Widowmine hits are cleared out a good chunk of the banelings at a time!
Oh, there's another one! Oh, we died, okay.
Okay, that was almost heartbreaking. So, instead of 70, he's got 54. Still, a lot of freaking banelings. And he's playing on creep, too. But even going off of creep here, it says to spin around. Realizing, this might be a lot of banelings, but that's a lot of Marines at the same time.
Yeah, MMA's doing a good job of cutting off the creep here, because Snute wants this creep to connect that kind of awkwardly placed 5th base on the far right-hand side that MMA might even check. So getting rid of that creep, going towards that 5th base is really nice for MMA if he does go there eventually, but his focus right now seems to be the 4th. Somewhat.
Yeah. I like the spine crawlers here too. This will help against the littler drops. Obviously not a big drop with Marauders and such, but 3-3-3 on the way. So even the Mutalisks are going to get a bit of a kick out of this late game tech, which again is coming a little bit earlier than I think MMA would have expected. But on Ultra Zeem, Snute's also finding trouble getting those 5th and 6th bases.
And this is, I think, was it a drop on the left-hand side? Because the Mutas went far out of position, and MMA is using this opportunity to drop the 4th and deny the 5th, but he doesn't know about the other 5th, I guess.
No, it's still just
on the right side.
Unseen.
He might go there now. Okay, he's gonna find out.
Still a lot of banelings, but this is an army that's hard to trade with. Because there's going to be so much fighting off of creep. Okay, he walks right past us. MMA knows it's there.
Upgrade.
Okay, I like they segmented some Marauders. Obviously, you don't want your whole army caught out here. Use the ramp against your opponent. Put the armored units that will take no damage on the ramp. But this is a very awkward engagement area for Snute. He can't really protect this hatchery, sadly, and I think he's just going to have to let it go.
Yeah, exactly. I really like this by MMA. He's doing exactly like he did on Frost, where he denied that 5th base. He's doing the exact same thing now on Altered Tim, where he positions his army where it, absolutely can't be engaged onto, and Snute just, he's getting rid of or sacking the base, and he's making a base on the left-hand side that's gonna finish up. So Snute realizing that he's not gonna be able to engage there.
Awkward banelings, but they get some good hits off, I suppose. The nice thing is he realizes that MMA's army's got to be near maxed out on this side of the field, so there's not going to be a lot in terms of defense at home. This planetary can go down to this many banelings. Zerglings won't get a lot done, but they'll distract the shots, so the banelings can roll in potentially. No, he's just going to wait. Okay, he was tentative, didn't know whether he wanted to go home or go for the full attack, but now going to dedicate to taking this. Far invested on this half of the field. SCVs are going to die. Planetary's going to go down.
Monster kill.
This base gets wiped out.
Okay, he does trade okay there in the end.
Yeah, gets a good chunk of the army for it too, but he's got nothing to defend against this giant push coming. 20 banelings just finish up. Ultras are on the way. This is going to be very difficult for Snute to hold.
Yeah, he kind of wants those ultras. Well, I mean, banelings on
free medevacs. Free medevacs though. Good start.
Yeah, that's really nice. He just wants to buy time with those ultras, but the banelings moved to the Marauders. That was a mistake.
Definitely. That's going to sting a little bit here. More into the Marauders as well. He needs those ultras. Ultras can deal with the Marines, guys, but he doesn't have a whole lot to deal with them just yet. The Ultras are still on their way to pop. He's going to lose this base. Kind of sucks. Reestablish another one down here. He's got a base on the left side, too. Snute not out of this game from losing this base, but not a situation he wants to be in for sure.
Yeah, MMA is playing really well right now. I mean, Snute's got a big army, so MMA probably just wants to get out of here, I feel, right now, with those Ultras. Snute's going to be able to crush this army eventually. MMA actually moving down to that base in the bottom right. That's a nice move with that dropship. It's going off creep as well, so even though Snute's army is looking really good right now, it's going to be hard to engage off creep, for sure.
It's so uncanny that on a map where you would expect Mutalisks more than any other, that MMA's been able to get super effective drops off this whole game. And a lot of this plays into the fact that the Mutalisks aren't going to have any ground support. While they can get around the map quickly, Lings and Ultras will always struggle.
Yeah, and he's kind of pulling the army back and forth as well. Like he's, dropping on one side and attacking on the other, like constantly. And it's so annoying for Snute to deal with this. And now even like 2 medevacs to the main, while like scanning creep and getting his army out, I guess.
Cleans up these drops.
He's gonna have to run quickly with these units. There's no medevacs around.
Does Snute have? Okay, I thought for a moment he didn't have Xsplit. Take that back. So the Ultras will be able to take the hits from the Marines all day, every day. Good Baneling connectors cleans that up very quickly, but oh, what is this awkward long distance mining on the right side of the map? Everything for Snute this game, his expansion-wise, just feels a bit odd, a bit awkward. This is a map where you would expect a Zerg player to get away with 7 or 8 bases, but he's really been locked down to 4 for the majority of this game.
Yeah, MMA is doing really, really well. He kind of split up his army nicely there, sent the Thors and Marauders back to his base while sending some of his army to the bottom right side of the map. But Snute, he's...
How the Terran players wish they had recall right now.
Well, this is hard to engage into though. That choke point, the Marines doing so much damage.
Of course, the one thing that beats Ultras better than Marauders or tanks or even Thors is just barracks and building placement.
Yeah.
Ultras have like the worst AI in StarCraft 2. These drones are playing a dangerous game. Dead for it. But we're talking a lot about Snute not being able to take these extra bases. MMA is kind of in that same scenario where neither of them is really able to get massively far ahead of one or the other. And this is what I love about StarCraft 2. Lilicanine versus Paranoid, MMA versus Snute. It doesn't matter who wins these games just through score alone, because you know that every one of them is going to be close. They're so well matched in skill.
Yeah. Well, we see again MMA going for those starports, by the way, for the Ravens. It's kind of interesting.
This is going to hurt. Drop on the left side, going to clean up that 4th base. Snute now forced to go for an attack through the planetary, through these chokes. He's lost a lot of the banelings for this, so that burst damage is for naught, but the Ultras are still standing, and those are always going to hit hard. Lots of Mutalisks are here, and MMA's army is halfway segmented in the bottom right corner of the map. We'll see if Snute's got enough. He's kind of got to go through this one big power move, though. There's not a lot of recovery process behind this. He has no money, no bank. 18 lings on the way are just going to be rallied across the map.
this is gonna work.
I think it might. Yeah, MMA's struggling to come home. He's bringing everything home, but as he does, the production falls. This is, of course, the biggest Achilles heel of any Terran player. No matter how good you are, the second your production gets compromised is the second you get into like that dangerous zone of almost losing the game.
Well, alrighty. Well.
Okay, the Mutalisk got 16. It's not automatic win amounts of Mutalisks, but the Marines can't come up the ramp. So what MMA's doing is really intelligent. By putting bunkers at the bottom, he'll contain this mess. But not if the Mutalisks kill all these first.
I mean, there's no units. I mean, let's look at the army supply. 37 versus 6-day. I think this is just going to be... I mean, Snute's economy is non-existent, so...
This base trade was so clutch. And MMA, you know, he was killing every single base all day, every day. Snute couldn't get a fourth for the life of him. But that opened so many doorways. If you know that your opponent's got 80-plus army supply in the bottom right corner of the map, that's the biggest map in the universe, just go for the throats! And it worked out so well for Snute.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really clutch move, and I mean, this game was looking to be MMA's, like denying those expansions so well. I mean, look at Snute's bases. He's got no base mining. He just was able to win with that one army he had.
I tell you, Nipshire, you asked me 10 minutes ago who in the middle of the game who was going to win, I would have said MMA 10 times out of 10. But Snute, one clutch, amazing decision, gets him here towards the end. Well, of course, it's not one decision, it's a multitude of decisions leading up to this one end-game move. But still, nonetheless, 1-1 is now the score in this best of 7. We're going to give this guys a moment or two to pick the next map, and we're going to go a small commercial break. So